Hey guys, Matt from Total MTG here, and welcome to Commander Time. So what have I got for you this week? This week I'm doing my top 5 best and worst blue cards for Commander. Now these are my personal choices. What I want you guys to do as well is to leave in the comments what your top 5 best and worst would be. Let's see how we all compare, and if you think I missed anything that's really terrible out, or something that maybe shouldn't be on the list. So let's start off with our top 5 best. Coming in at number 5 for me is Rite of Replication. Great card, 2 double blue. You put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. If Rite of the Replication was kicked, put 5 of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. So the kicker is 5. It does cost a lot, but you could get some amazing creatures with this. Just really storm the board. Kill everything. Perhaps there's some kind of take the creature's opponent kind of card. Draw cards where you're going to draw lots of cards when you enter the battlefield. The possibilities are endless with Rite of Replication. Absolutely brilliant card. Comes in at number 5 for me. Number 4 is one of my favourite cards from Modern. The Versatile Cryptic Command. 1 triple blue. You choose 2. Counter target spell. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Or tap all creatures your opponents control. Or you get to draw a card. This can help you out in multiple situations. Probably one of the best counter spells for me, just because of the versatility of it. It comes in at number 4. Number 3 for me is Clever Impersonator. I love this card. 2 double blue. I put it in a lot of my blue decks. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any non-land permanent, which means you can get planeswalkers, artifact, creatures. It's not one of like the copy spells that just do creatures. This does non-land permanent. Absolutely brilliant card. I'm sure a lot of you agree with this. It comes in at number 3. Number 2 is a Flying Big Sphinx, 4 double blue. It's the Consecrated Sphinx. It has flying. It's a 4/6. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2. Multiplayer commander, this is going to be brilliant. Every time they draw a card, you probably got to be careful not to mill yourself in case someone's got something like draw 30 cards. You'd have to draw 60. But this card is really, really good. Definitely worth putting in your blue decks. And the number 1 best card for me has to be, it's in every blue deck, Cyclonic Rift. Probably a bit obvious, but for me it's absolutely brilliant and an essential card. It only costs 1 of the blue to return target non-land permanent you don't control to your owner's hand, but you can overload it for 6 in a blue, where you send everything back, which basically sends all those non-land permanents, leaves yours theirs, and you are free to attack and may potentially win the game from just casting that Rift. Absolute number 1 card for me. Brilliant blue card. So now let's get on to the top 5 worst. Now this is quite funny, this list. Maybe you agree with them, maybe you don't, maybe you think there's better ones. But for me, coming in at number 5 is the legendary creature you don't want. This is your general, Linessa Zephyr Mage. It's a 3/3 human wizard. It has return target creature coming because X to its own hand. Yeah, pretty sweet, but it has grandeur. Discard another card named Linessa. Well, I'm pretty sure you're only going to have 1. Returns target creature this year controls to its hand. Then repeat this process for artifacts, enchantment, and land. Now, pretty sure we're not going to be able to discard another card named Linessa, so this has to be one of the worst generals around for me, and comes in at number 5. Number 4 is a massive 10/10. It costs 9, 5 and 4 blue. It's a Leviathan. Leviathan enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. At the beginning of your island, your upkeep, you may sacrifice 2 islands. If you do, you can untap it. And then if you want to attack with it, you have to sacrifice another 2 islands. Now, when you're a blue player like me, you want to keep your islands on the battlefield, surely. You don't want to be chucking, yeah, it's a nice 10/10, but you're not going to be potentially winning the games with this. People will be waiting until you take all your lands and just kill it. So this Leviathan is an absolute terrible blue card for me. You know, I don't want to be sacrificing islands. I want as much land as I can with blue decks. Leviathan comes in at number 4. Number 3, I've got to try and pronounce this one right. Dichotomomancy, I think I said that right, I'm not too sure. 7 double blue. For each tapped non-land permanent target opponent controls, search that player's library for a card with the same name. Well, they're not going to have anything with the same name. It's a one card of each type in their deck. It's Commander. So then you with the same name as opponent and put that into play under your control. Then they shuffle their library. It's going to be useless for you. Tap each, you know, you're not going to be able to go and find another card that's potentially the same. You just can't do it. So that comes in at number 3. Number 2 for me is just an absolute terrible counterspell. Fervent Denial. So it just counters target spell. Okay, costs 5 though. But it's the Flashback. Flashback costs 7. Now you might disagree with this one, but I'm looking at, you know, stuff like Counterspell, cost 2, other different types of counterspells that have other second abilities. But this is just purely bad for me. 3 double blue is very expensive just to counter a spell anyway. And the Flashback costing 7 is diabolical. So what comes in at number 1 for me? Would you be able to guess what it is? Number 1 for me, the worst card that you want to put in your blue EDH deck. Battle of Wits. 3 double blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 200 or more cards in your library, well, that ain't going to happen very often. You win the game. They win the game, very good. But are you really going to have 200 cards in your library when the maximum possibly is 99? It's just not going to happen. Battle of Wits. I've heard on some kind of chats that maybe there is a way of incorporating this into a deck. I can't see it whatsoever. For me, it's an absolute terrible card. Maybe someone can do something with it. I'm sure someone's going to put in chat that, oh yes, you can do it. But for me, you're not going to have 200 cards in your library. You're not going to win the game. It is the worst card for me for having your blue decks in Commander. So guys, that was my top 5 best and worst blue cards for Commander. I will be going through the other colours. You'll always see these videos up on Commander Time, which comes up at 6 PM GMT every Saturday, where I dedicate the video to EDH Commander. Don't forget to leave in the comments what your top 5 best and worst blue cards would be. Not just all bad because they're blue. I don't want to see any of that. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing your comments. If you're new, don't forget to press that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss any of those videos from Total MTG. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next week.